Alright, so in today's video, I 100% completed MANEATER. This is one of the most fun, niche, silly games I've played in the past, and it's one of my most favorite videos I've made on the channel. I did it quite a while ago now, but upon loading it back up, the feelings of eating men, the taste of men, all just came flooding back into my mind. Anyways, this is also a part of my ongoing challenge where I'm trying to 100% my profile on PlayStation, containing over 140 non-completed games, and the goal is to do it before the channel hits 1.15 million subscribers. So if you want to speed up the challenge, making it harder, then drop a like and subscribe. In total, however, MANEATER Truth Quest, which is the only DLC pack for this game, contains a total of 12 trophies, which is actually quite a lot for just a single DLC pack to have. It takes about 5 hours to finish, and it's rated at only a 3 out of 10 for difficulty, although it actually is very challenging at certain points of it. But kicking things off today was Stage 1, getting to Plover Island Complex, the new area added into the game with the DLC, and where most of the trophies take place. There is a few new things that kind of do veer into the main game's areas, but for the most part, it's all at the Plover Island Complex. And getting there is very easy. You literally just begin the Truth Quest DLC, which gives you a few little mini missions to do, setting up the story flow. The first objective had us just swim through some rings, which I think is a new side activity with this DLC. It's kind of just this sort of time trial ring thing. I don't really know how to explain it. But then you have to destroy a ship that is marked, which is the classic MANEATER objective that makes up like 90% of the game, and it's fun every single time. This game really did master that funny, unrealistic, but kind of real game feeling. It reminds me a ton of Goat Simulator, High on Life. That whole genre of game is just great. But then the last objective before the final one for this intro part had us destroying a comms tower, which I think is also a new activity with the DLC pack. I don't really know. But I also had no clue how to do this because I forgot the controls somewhat, and I didn't remember what the throw button was when grabbing enemies, so it took me a hot minute to figure it out. Upon finally getting it though, I did destroy the comm tower, and then we got the final objective, being to just run for Plover, which means you just swim as fast as you can away from the mainland off to the new area. Upon making it there, you do get a cutscene, and the trophy pops right away. In the cutscenes, you also see them showing us the place being Site P, a secret military complex essentially. And the overall goal for today is to just do all of the objectives it gives us as usual, and then also build infamy. And also at this point, we're inside of Stage 2 as well, if you were wondering. But building infamy is the only real challenging part because you do have to farm quite a lot of kills in combat, and it can be quite hard not to die doing this. But don't worry, that's not for quite some time. First, we just played through the missions it gave us, and the missions themselves are pretty much the same as the normal game's flow was, kind of just having you go place to place, destroy ships, kill X amount of enemies, stuff like that. But you also would occasionally get these more specific objectives saying to go after a target, and it looks a little different than just the normal destroy mark ship objective, mostly because the name for it is special, and it relates to the enemy we have to kill. The first one I got was called Electric Mayhem, and it's called this because we had to take down the Electric Great White, one of the failed or successful experiments from the nearby military site that we were currently trying to topple. But seeing as this is the first quote-unquote boss, I guess you could say, of the game, the fight wasn't much of a challenge, and even without any new gear or levels from the DLC, I managed to win fairly fast. Upon chopping the Electric Great White's great penis off, and I got the trophy pop from its elimination. I then got another Hammerhead kill objective, which was easy, followed with a kill 10 sailors objective, and since it's been so long from the last time I played this game, I don't really know what it meant by sailors, and I assumed it just meant like people on a boat because, you know, they're sailing, right? I don't know, I thought that was a good idea, but I guess I'm just stupid. It's my fault. Yeah, the 10 sailors were actually the marked sailors hanging out on a beach. Very obvious as well. The markers go cross-map, and I think I actually might be legitimately blind, to be honest. So I eventually found my way, I got the kills, and I was on to my next objective, which was actually, funnily enough, another sailor objective. I guess we just hate those that sail. I was always more of a car guy myself, so it makes sense. But after that, we then reached another boss fight of sorts with a mission being called Drop Shadow. Not sure if that's a reference to photo editing or just drop shots in games, but either way, I know it means something, damn it, I just can't prove it.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, this fight was against the Shadow Orca. A bit more of a challenging fight than the previous one, as you would expect natural progression to go, or evolution if you will. And I actually came close to dying a multitude of times, which is very scary. In fact, during the entire fight, my HP just kept on sinking and sinking and sinking. Thankfully, someone named Shin Sakata motivated me to do better after I lost my lead in the Force Survivor. What the actual f is even that? I have no clue. Somebody tell me, please. I have no idea what that is.
Oh my god!
So yeah, I ended up winning this fight, but literally by the edges of my nails, and I did not feel like a winner whatsoever. But the trophy still popped even if I feel like a failure. Life moves on, as they say. Not for me. Shout out to The Office. Anyways, moving on, the world was beginning to get harder, and not only just the enemies as we just saw, but the objectives became to get more challenging, as you can see with the next one being to get 5 whales eliminated and not tiny little sharks. And the following one after that was even more challenging, having us with the goal of taking out a power node. This is the same functioning objective as that comms relay one from a while ago, except this time the power node was surrounded, absolutely smothered in enemy forces ready to just penetrate us, and in the mean way with bullets for clarification. But there was then an odd objective having us do another time trial race this thing. I don't really know what the purpose of these are besides just for shits and giggles, so I can't really complain. They aren't too hard and they're actually pretty fun for what they are. But after that, we then reached the first like pause or break in story, and I had to go check in on the behind the scenes going on to watch a cutscene showing the real plot of what we are doing here. MOLOCH, or Moloch, is a secret weapon the enemies are developing that we are now in charge of destroying, because if we don't, it's gonna set off in a few days, and it's essentially a viral nuke that will infect all the oceans and therefore the world. Absolute devastation. I just saw a PetSmart employee drop to his knees 3 aisles over. So that's the goal for us now, and to be honest, not much else really changed in the gameplay flow, and you basically just go back to doing more objectives. I also did get my next boss fight right after that cutscene ended against the bone sperm whale, and it had a much more lame objective name for the fight as well, and I am gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. Not because of that name, just, you know, personal issues if you're wondering. But the fight actually wasn't hard at all. I also do believe this is because I was getting better at the game after figuring out what all the controls, special moves, and just how the game works in general. Also, the sperm whale isn't very strong in terms of attacks. It's more just a fat tank, like Lizzo. But upon winning the fight, I defeated the sperm and I got a trophy pop right here. Now, this was actually the last real objective I got from the DLC for quite some time. And this isn't because it was over, but rather just because we eradicated all these special creatures at the time being. And instead, what I was supposed to do was just raise my infamy to fight the 5 bounty hunters that are in this DLC as the new enemies to go for. If you don't remember or recall what infamy is or how it functions, because I sure did forget, essentially all you have to do is eat people to draw the authorities on you, then fight them to raise that little circle with the number in it. Our goal being to get that number to 5, because every time it raises up, another bounty hunter gets sent after us. Before really going for those bounty hunters, however, I did get a trophy called Atomic Bomb, and no, it wasn't from Japan. Instead, it was from acquiring 100% of the Atomic Evolution set. And this is just the new set of DLC armor and bio parts you can put on your shark out from completing side things in the DLC. After I chomped on my last landmark sign, I then got given the final atomic piece in the trophy pop right here. So after that, I then went after those bounty hunters. Like I said, there's only 5 total appearing every time you raise the meter up a level. These 5 bounty hunters go in order, being named TJ Toffler, the child fondler, Ron Honeywell, the wellness instructor that had an affair with my ex-wife, Jocelyn St. Denis, shout out to Black Lives Matter, Vic Mandrake, the closeted homosexual, and finally the magnum opus of bounty hunters, and the only one we actually need to kill for the trophy, Barbara Terranova. Could have sworn she had a dick, they all said. Now, as I just stated, good old Barbara is the only one needed to be killed for the trophy called 4-star rank. However, you do have to kill everyone else to climb the ranks up to her. And doing this is a bit challenging, and it took me about an hour of farming to get there. Inside of this farming, you literally just kill stuff the entire time and become a true main eater. Just like my ex-girlfriend, turns out he wasn't just a good friend. Anyways, I'm not going to go through each bounty hunter one by one because they're all honestly pretty easy to kill. You quite literally just have to eat stuff and spam attack, occasionally running away to heal if need be. It really isn't all that complex, and it's actually kind of boring thinking about it. Playing this game is far more fun than explaining how much fun it is, let's be real here. However, while I was chomping on men like a desperate 29-year-old single woman, I did end up reaching level 40 on my shark, which is max, I believe. If not, who cares? It's still a trophy anyways, and here's that. But then finally, I managed to get the attention of Admiral Barbara Terranova, and the fight against her was, underwhelming, I guess. Mostly just because the entire method in fighting her was to spin roll attack while above the ship the entire time. Doing this makes it near impossible to take significant damage and die. And for example, if you were to try this fight and just eat her ass, not only is that disgusting, you would also get shocked, shot, and just flat out killed doing so. And after rolling around with Barbara for way too long, I evidently won the fight. I got the trophy from killing her, and the bounty hunters are now gone for good. And upon doing that, not only did we complete the longest part of the DLC, but you also unlock the final stage of the DLC story in itself, relating to the Atomic Leviathan, the final boss creature of the MANEATER saga. Before that, however, I just real fast went over to the fast travel point to return to the main game's island, and I got a trophy from completing 100% of the time trials. And this is something I did previously when in between stuff. I never did mention it though because the trophy does not pop until you return back to the main island. Not a clue why, but here it is. Back to the problem at hand though, being the Atomic Leviathan. You get to go on a very long, and I mean very long, almost 45-minute long chase doing more objectives in the main world. And these were all to hunt down this guy this time though. But eventually you do find the Leviathan and you get access to the fight. And I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely the hardest boss fight in the entire game. And this isn't just because the guy has a lot of armor, but that does play a big part, you know, obviously. The Atomic Leviathan can recharge his armor. That's the hard part. And he does it like every 10 or 20 seconds or so, leaving you with barely enough time for a few attacks before the shield recharges, and you have to break it again to do a tiny bit more damage to him. I also did sustain my first death today during this fight. This is actually tragic on God. But in all seriousness, no jokes, this fight is hard as f***. The only method I found to work was to not really focus on straight fighting him, and instead dodging, healing from other creatures, and then focusing almost completely on just hitting back the gas mines he sends at us, because they deal far more damage than we ever will be able to normally. After doing 2 to 3 of those, it should break his armor, and then you can land a few hits with far higher HP than you would have normally if you just straight up fought him. The fight will take you multiple minutes, and that's okay, buddy. I actually think I spent over 50% of the fight just healing or trying to heal. But hey, I did it eventually, getting the kill, solidifying my presence as Big Dick Daddy of SeaWorld. And here is that trophy pop, also finishing the DLC story off. Eliminating the threat at hand with a giant explosion as well to top it all off. That ending might not make any sense, but that's okay because this game is funny, so it's fine. Alright, so I do still have 3 more trophies, and 2 of these are actually just from completing all of the objectives. Both on Plover Island, but then also in the main game itself, because a few new things did get thrown in on that side of it. And all these side stuff in this game is just the same stuff we did already, being to just kill enemies, do time trials, a few collectibles, nothing fancy. But then the other trophy I had was from eating all the questers, and that was actually my last real trophy objective aside from just doing all the other, random side shit. And here's that Plover Island all objectives done trophy, by the way, which I did get first out of all of these, obviously. But back to eating all the questers, I did follow a video on them since they are hidden, and they do not show up on the map at all. A quester is just a person who I guess is a conspiracy theorist. It's actually really funny when you play the game because they're like doing rituals and we just show up to eat them. Talk about the First Amendment violation, am I right? Anyways, yeah, this entire trophy is just us eating conspiracy people. Joe Rogan would lose his mind if he saw this. But here's that trophy pop after getting them all inside our belly. And then one more trophy remained. I can handle the truth. The complete all available objectives in Truth Quest trophy. And again, this is just from doing all these side stuff in each area that we were inside of. And all of the main areas that got new stuff from the DLC only had a few things. So this was actually super fast, and after I did all of them, the trophy popped right here, and here it is. So that was the MANEATER Truth Quest 100% completed with, and MANEATER itself 100% finished. I think this game is one of the most laid back and just naturally fun games to play, let alone to 100%. I would highly recommend it once more if you've never played it, and yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and more videos soon, baby.